Okay, today's daf is a daf yomi for Shabbos, and Nedarim Lama Beis, the last daf of the third chapter. Nedarim called Arba Nedarim. Darash Rabbi Yehuda Bar Bizna. So Rabbi Yehuda Bar Bizna taught Mishash and Israshal Moshe Rabbeinu min Amila at the time when Moshe Rabbeinu, excuse me, at the time when Moshe Rabbeinu was delayed in doing the mitzvah of circumcision. So the two angels, one angel was called Af and the other anger, and the other one was called Chema, wrath. And they swallowed him up. The only thing they left behind were his legs. So other sources say that they swallowed him up to his makom amila, the place of the circumcision. Miyad vatikach Tzipora tzor, and Tzipora took immediately. And by the way, so we say, it says in the book of Shmuel, below asa raglav, that raglav is a euphemism for the place of the circumcision. And so Tzipora took a flint, vatechrosas aros b'na, and she cut off the arla of her son. Miyad, and she took a vatikach Tzipora tzor vatechrosas aros b'na. And then immediately afterwards, miyad vayaraf mimenu. At that moment, the angels departed from him. So the angel of destruction departed and left Moshe alone. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to kill these angels of Af and Chema, as it states, Haref me'af v'azov Chema. Leave alone Af and abandon Chema. The Yesh Omrim, and some say Hashem told Moshe, leave aside these angels, don't kill them. And some say L'Chema harago, indeed he killed Chema, as states in Isaiah, Chema ainly, which implies that Chema was killed. The Gemara says, how could it be? That means, and that implies that these angels lived a long time because I was afraid of Af and Chema even after that incident. So the Gemara explains, there were two angels of destruction whose names were Chema. Or alternatively, Moshe killed Chema in the place of the lodgings, in the place where he was. And then, when it says, the intent was Gunda de Chema. He didn't kill Chema's troops. He killed Chema, but he didn't kill Chema's troops. Tanya Rabbi Omer Gadol Milash El Chamishanis Asik b'mitzvos ka'Avram Avinu. So great is the mitzvah of circumcision that there was nobody who engaged in the mitzvah of circumcision, in the mitzvah of mitzvahs, like as great as Avram. Yet Abraham was only called complete only once. He had completed the mitzvah of circumcision. Because bris milah is equivalent to all the mitzvahs of the Torah. As it states, it says in the verse, it says, God says to Moshe, write all these words. I made a covenant with you on the basis of all of these words. Alternatively, Gedola Mila, circumcision is so great. We're not for circumcision. Heaven and earth would not be able to be in existence. As it states, if I did not create my covenant day and night. And this argues with Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, Torah is the greatest. Shalmoi Torah and the sky mushmayim arts were not for the Torah. Heaven and earth would not be lasting. As it says, my covenant was not there day and night, meaning to say, if you don't have a bris, then I wouldn't have created the earth. When Hashem said to Avram, walk before me and be perfect, Avram began to tremble. Amar Shema Yesh Bidavar Maguna. He says, maybe I have something that's Maguna in me. I have something disgusting in me. Kimin Shamarlo, once God said to him, I'll place my covenant between me and you. Niskara Daito. All of a sudden, Avram was appeased. As it says, Vayotze Oto Achutza, God took him outside and showed him the stars of the sky. And he said, just like you can't count the stars of the sky, so too you won't be able to count your descendants. Amar Lafana Rabbeinu Shalom, God said to Avram, Istakalti b'mazel shali. He said, so at that moment, Avram said before him, Master of the universe, I looked at my mazel, I looked at my constellation, and I see I'm going to have only one child. He said, stop dealing with your astrologers, don't believe them. There's no constellation in Israel. Ein mazel Israel. The mazel has no rule over Israel. Whoever makes himself naive and innocent, HaKadosh Baruch Hu metamim imo. Hashem will walk with him with tamim, as it states in the verse, Im chasi tit chasad im gevar tamim titamam. Meaning to say, the pasuk says that if a person acts with chasidus, with piety, tis chasad, Hashem will act with him with kindness. And if a person acts with tamimus, Hashem will act with him with tamimus. Whoever makes himself act with simplicity and purity, the moment he will ascend in greatness, as it says, and then you'll be a father amongst the nations. That's the next pasuk. Whoever does acts of sorcery, woe nachash. In the end, he was suffering from those sorcery, as it states, Kilo nachash bi'Yaakov, meaning to say it's as though it's written with a vav, meaning to say that the snakes or the sorcerers are running after him. Where it says but it's written low with an aleph, meaning to say that they're not running after him. So the verse is teaching us that since Jacob did nichush and did sorcery, he was punished through nichush and sorcery, measure for measure. Tani ava braid Rabbi Zera ko adam shenu menachesh. Any person who does not engage in nichush, machnitzin osab b'machitza, we take him into the who we take him behind the current. Shafilu malcha hayasharis and yechol lekanes. This so we allow him to see God even in a way that the angels aren't able to see it. As it says, Kilo nachash b'Yaakov o kesem Yisrael, that there's no sorcery in Jacob. In Jacob, no kesem Yisrael, no sorcery in Israel. Meaning to say that that the angels are going to ask the person who didn't do sorcery, tell us what God did. Amar Rabbi Avo, Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Amar Rabbi Eliezer. Why was Avram punished? That his descendants are going to be in Egypt for 210 years. Because he took the Torah scholars to war. They were supposed to be studying Torah, engaged in the service of Hashem. Instead, he took them to rescue Lot. As it says, Vayarek es chanichav Yelidei Beiso. He took the Yelidei Beiso. And who are the Yelidei Beiso? The Gemara in Nedarim tells us that this is reference to that these are all the people who he taught Torah to, because we say in the Gemara in Nedarim, whoever teaches his friend's son Torah, it's as though he raised them. So when he took the Yelidei Beiso, it means that all the people he was studying Torah with. That he was challenging God, as it states. That was why Abraham was punished. It says, how will I know that I will inherit the earth? Rabbi Yochanan says, no, it's because he stopped people from converting. When he went into the land of Canaan, it says that he took with him a nefesh the souls that he made. But then after he defeated the king of Sodom, it says, the king of Sodom says, give me the souls and you take the possessions. And Abraham should have said, no, I want the souls to convert them. But since he didn't take those souls, he went into slavery for 210 years. We see from here that Avram was supposed to be converting people. And then what does it say? The Gemara says, what does it mean that he took these people to go into battle? Rav Amar Shorika Torah, that he was teaching them Torah. Shmuel says Shorika Mizav, that he was giving them a lot of gold, as it states, Vayarek Eschanitzav is V'Abrasabi Rak Harutz. The Gemara tells us Shemona Asur Shlosh Mayos. The rest of the verse says there are 318 people who went. Amar Rabbi Barabba Eliezer Keneged Kulan. Avram's servant is Eliezer. He was equal to all 318 of them. Others say Ikadami Eliezer who the Chushbani Achayavi. This is the numerical value of Eliezer is 318. And so therefore this was a reference to Eliezer. Amar Rabbi Ami Barabba ben Shalosh Shanim Hikar Avram Esbaron. When Avram was 3 years old, he recognized his creator, as it states, because Avram heard my voice. Kushbana, the gematria of Akev, is Mea Shivinu train, 172, meaning to say that, and Avram died at 175. So we see from here that the first 3 years he didn't know God. It was only at 3 years old that he began to know God. Amar Rami Barabba. Satan b'chushbana tos me'avashisim ba'arba. The Satan in its calculation is equivalent to 364, and the days of the year are 365. This teaches us that there's one day of the year, i.e. Yom Kippur, that the Satan doesn't rule over us. Rami Barabba ksiv Avram and ksiv Avraham. It says Avram, and then later on he changed his name after circumcision to Avram. At first, Hashem ruled over 243 of Abraham's limbs. But after he did the circumcision, Abraham ruled over 248 limbs. These are the ones that he added on. The 2 eyes, the 2 ears, and the head of his aver, his member. What do we do with the verse from Koheles, chapter 9, verse 14? It says, there's a small city, and there are very few people in it. And a large king came, and he surrounded it, and he built on it fortresses. And then he found there a wise man, and he saved the city with his wisdom. And nobody remembered this wise man. What does this mean? This is the body of every person. When he's born, he's very weak. And there are very few people there. This refers to the limbs that don't have any ability. And the king comes and surrounds it. That's a Yetzer Hara. This is the Yetzer Hara. And then he builds on it fortresses and castles. These are the sins. They're the fortresses of the Yetzer Hara. And he found a weak man who was wise. That was the Yetzer Tov. This is the inclination for good. And he saves the city with his wisdom. This is repentance and good deeds. And nobody remembered this Isha Miskain. This is the B'shas Yetzer Hara because when Yetzer Hara is striving to do good, to get you to sin, nobody remembers the Yetzer Tov. Right. Says the pasuk in Goelis, that wisdom is stronger for the wise man than 10 rulers. What does this mean? Wisdom will give more strength to the chacham. What does this refer to? This refers to tshuva u'masim tovim. This refers to repentance and good deeds. From 10 rulers. This is shtei einayim, the 2 eyes, shtei asnayim, the 2 ears, shtei yadayim, the 2 hands, shtei ragayim, and the 2 legs, the rosh hakviya upeh, and the member and the mouth. That they dominate a person, and these are a person's actions happen through these things. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that all of the Kohanim would come from Shem, as it says, it says about Melchizedek, who was a descendant of Shem, that he's going to be the Kohen El Elyon. But since he blessed Abraham before God, Avram, and Kadosh Baruch Hu took out the kahuna from Abraham. Hashem said that the kahuna will be descendants of Abraham. And where did Shem precede in blessing Abraham over God? As it states, that first Melchizedek, i.e. Shem, blessed Abraham, and then he blessed God. So Amaro Avram Machinakdim Birkas Evo Birkas Kohen. Do you bless a slave, a servant before the master? Miyad his son Avram, God gave the kahuna to Abraham. This is why you have to be very important Whenever you make l'chaim, first you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Sha'akol Niyeh, and then you say l'chaim to this person, l'chaim to this person. First, you have to say bless God, and only then do you bless the person. Now it states Neum Hashem Adonai Sheva Mini Ad Ashit Oivecha Adom Raglecha. He says, sit on my right side. I will be for your right in battle, and I will help you until I put your enemy at your footstool. Even afterwards, it's written, Nishba Hashem Hoi Nachem, God swears, and he will not recant. Ata Kohen Olam, you, Abraham, will be a Kohen forever. Al Divrasi Malki Tzedek, Al Diburu shall make it Tzedek. Because Malki Tzedek messed up, because he blessed Abraham before God. He is a Kohen Malki Tzedek was a Kohen, but his descendants will not be Kohanim. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about in this beautiful chapter. We'll go into it in much more depth when we study it tomorrow at Shalosh Shuddis. But for now, this is the third chapter, Hadron Alach Arba Nedarim. We shall return to you this beautiful chapter of Arba Nedarim.